The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys! This is Media Mash,
A roundtable of Cowboys insiders
dropping wisdom
and offering sizzling takes
on the current state of your Dallas Cowboys.
Now, your host,
Newy Scruggs.
Oh, well, look who stepped in the booth for a Wednesday. We got the Media Mash. And, man, they say dropping some wisdom, man. I think I got the guys around the table that's going to do that. Clarence Hill Jr., Fort Worth Star-Telegram. My man, Youssef. Wait a minute. Saad Youssef from The Atlantic. I'm not going to mess that
The
up,
Athletic.
man. Yeah, The Athletic.
Yes.
My man. And I know you from somewhere. I think I've seen you a few times. Nick Eatman, DallasCowboys.com. Fellas, how y'all doing today?
Good, man.
Doing good.
All right, well, listen, man, I always start every podcast. I always check in with people, man. I think we don't check on our people enough. So I'll go around the table just to see what's good with you. How are you doing? Nick, I'm going to start with you.
I've never been on this side of the table.
Is it a new vantage point for you?
It is, and it is brighter than usual, but that's okay. I like it. It's good. Why are you looking at me like that,
I'm
Clarence?
just looking, man. I'm like, what side of the table you mean you usually here?
I'm usually right here, but I, these lights.
You
are
need some
bright.
sunglasses? I can go get some from
I've seen you on that side of the table on Media Mash, though.
Over there. Yeah, it's good. No,
But
it's all right.
you're good.
I'm good. Yeah, sorry. Moving right along. I'm good. Saad, what's up, man?
Living the dream. You got this is a fun time because you got football moving into November, which is always the best time in football season, and also for the first time in 13 years, we got all 4 pro sports teams in Dallas in season on the same day. We got Stars, Mavericks, Cowboys, and Rangers.
Have they ever played on the same day?
I don't think all 4 have. No.
It's gonna be hard for Sunday. I mean, they're not gonna allow it for Major League Baseball. They did a nice job. They've got they got made sure that they're not on any Sunday of Major League Baseball.
Clarence, how are you?
You know, you're never supposed to ask the old person how they doing. I mean, you know, I got a little sciatica over here. I got a little ailment, right? You know, old folks tell you about the ailments. You know, you never seen that.
But that's why you check on people. You never know.
You ask the old person how they doing, they will tell you every little ailment they have.
Got an earache, toothache, all that.
I got a stomach. I didn't wake up. I didn't sleep too well. Now I'm good, man. It's all good, man. We're good. We recharged. We had a good bye week. I had a trip to Houston. I've been trolling on social media. I'm having a good week.
Trolling on social media.
Trolling.
That's a dangerous place to be, man. I tell you what.
That's Clarence lives.
That's my wheelhouse.
Look, I got you media members in here, and I'm not gonna waste none of your time. I'm gonna get this tea. I'm gonna get all the scoop on what's going on with the Dallas Cowboys. But I'm gonna start off with the weekly interview that Jerry Jones did on 105.3 The Fan. I'm sure you guys heard that interview where he basically, and I'm prefacing, that we're not going to make any trades unless trades come to us. Now, Clarence, I'm going to start with you. When you heard that interview and you got that little tidbit, what were the thoughts going through your head?
We like our guys. We like our guys. We like our guys. We like our football team. We like our guys. That's not a good Jerry voice?
I'm just listening.
We like our guys. You know, it's not surprising. I mean, we've been covering this team a long time, and this is what they do now. Of course, since he was so public with it, he might surprise you and do something.
Right.
But
that's what I took out.
You know,
of it.
he's so public. He's so public with he might surprise you and do something. My thing is this, and I've said this all along. You know, be all in, okay? And I know you like your guys, but there are things that you can do to improve this football team. And the whole notion of it has to come to me, and we don't want to be out there aggressive because we might get took on the deal or whatever else. And I'm worried about signing Micah 3 years down the road. Haven't been to the Super Bowl in 28 years. Make the moves necessary to win now. The opportunity is there. It's right there for the taking. The NFC is wide open. If there's a deal to be made, make the deal and improve this team. And yes, I know Mike talked about on Monday about not looking at other teams and not being motivated by what other teams are doing. But the Eagles made a move last year to get A.J. Brown. They moved this year to get a Pro Bowl safety, even though they were already one of the favorites, to improve their team, improve their chances to get to the Super Bowl. There's nothing wrong with that thinking.
I also think that, looking at the Eagles, even though you're not going up against them this week or whatever, you're still in the arms race with them. And they're not just doing it at the trade deadline. They signed Julio Jones last week too, which whatever's left in that tank, the point is they're still making moves and being aggressive to see that. And I think you don't know what the other team is going to be willing to part with. I mean, until you pick up the phone and call them. I mean, the Tennessee Titans look like they're just they're open for business.
Right.
If your running game is struggling, and if Derrick Henry can be had for something, then why wouldn't you look into that? That's just an example. But I think if you're at this level that you claim to be at, then you're not competing against the the bottom tier. You're looking at the 49ers, the Eagles, maybe the Detroit Lions, things like that, and that's who you have to go off of.
Nick?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I agree with Clarence that we gotta, we want to see them go all in at some point. They haven't done that. They haven't gone all in. They have been aggressive, but I don't think no one really cares about the moves if they don't work out. You know what I mean? If Julio Jones doesn't play a snap, then that won't be one of the moves the Eagles made when they talk about it. Or, it's got to be a Von Miller type thing that the Rams did. Or let's see what, Kevin Baird did, whatever. If Anthony Barr had 10 sacks last year, then that would have been a type of move. If Jason Peters would have been the guy that started a lot of games and all that, that would have been that type of move. I think they've made in the neighborhood of those moves, but not a big splashy one. So I think it's not against what they do. They just haven't maybe gone to the level that we'd like for them to do and make one of those big, Amari Cooper type moves. Because I think when you look at it, that move did not work.
Now, when you
did not work.
Go ahead,
for them.
Clarence.
It did not work. Why was wrong with your neck?
Because he should still be on the team.
Well,
it would have worked if he should still be on the team.
But it didn't because he's not on the team, so it did not work. It did not work. You don't give
those
a first-round pick.
Those are decisions they made. I mean, just like letting Cedric Wilson go and letting Amari Cooper go and signing Michael Gallup. That hasn't worked either. I mean,
right.
But what I'm saying is, I hear you. Ultimately, because it's not on the team, it didn't work.
Right.
But they're the reasons why it didn't work.
Okay. Well, regardless, I mean, 2019 first-round pick, which was for Amari Cooper, is not on the team in 2022. That's not a good pick. I mean, it doesn't matter if he's first-round. So that's all I'm saying. I didn't like the trade. I didn't like that trade. I didn't like the Gallup re-sign. I would have re-signed Cedric Wilson. We talked about that too. All I'm saying is I think Jerry looks at it like Galloway. That didn't work. I mean, for what he gave up. And Roy Williams, the receiver, that didn't work. And then, and now, you go in for Amari Cooper, and it worked for a little bit, and they re-signed him, but, it didn't mesh.
But why not take you to task on this then? If you're looking around the NFL, and especially if we're just talking about the Philadelphia Eagles, NFC East, right? We're talking Philly. And Howie Roseman goes out and he goes and gets a free safety from the Titans who's open for business. And you look at that as a splash. You think that piece that Philadelphia added to an already talented roster puts them even more over the top. When you look at the Dallas Cowboys roster and by position, is there a specific position room that you're saying, Jerry, get on the phone, because if you make this call, I know we can't mention anybody specifically, guys, but I'm saying there's a group you say you gotta jump that, but it's still at the same time, is there a position group that you make the call for?
I mean, I got a lot of position groups.
Well, give me one.
That you make the call for?
I mean, what's the call? I mean, I think they could use help at receiver. I think they could use help at linebacker. I think they could use help at cornerback. I think they could use help at tight end. I'm just spitballing. I mean, but my thing is, let's turn over every rock. Okay. Let's not just go into this and say we're good.
Yeah.
And so that's, so whatever that is, whatever position it is, certainly the Eagles needed help at safety. And they lost to safety in the offseason. One of the guys they picked up last year midseason left in free agency. And that was, and then Monte Maddox got hurt. And so it was a hole there. And they needed to improve with Kevin Beard getting him from Tennessee. But, they know their team better than anybody, and so we can talk about who we think, where they need help. But I'm just saying that they need to not just rest on their laurels of what they did in the offseason and say, we're good, we like these guys and go forward when you're not turning over every rock.
I also think that you have to look at it not just at what position you need right now, but what position, what can the domino effect be? So maybe you look at outside corner and you think you're set with Gilmore and Bland, But if you can go get another good outside corner, then that puts Bland back inside, and then that upgrades your roster in a bigger way than just one single position. So I think you look at it that way. I think you also look at the defensive tackle position. Obviously, that's been talked about here for a few years now. So I think for me, corner and defensive tackle would probably be the ones.
Yeah, for me, I would probably go for a running back, but only,
and I didn't say running back. Yes,
only if it's a situation that I can get a guy for, multiple years. I mean, I don't think this is a team. I could be wrong, but I don't think the Cowboys are at the level where you go and you give up a couple of draft picks for a guy that's going to be here this year. And then after that, we'll see. I don't know if they have a Max Scherzer type, and that's baseball reference. But that's different because it's a different league. I get it. But that's kind of for right now, for this year, to try to go over the top. I don't know if the Cowboys should do that. I think if they're going to get a guy, anybody, I think I'm getting a guy in the last year of his first contract, 26, 25 years old, and going into, you're going to have to pay him again. But that's the idea. We're trading for him because we want to sign him, long term after this year.
Nobody pays running back, so why are we talking about?
Okay, well, then do it. Then do it. I mean, go get.
That's the problem.
I'm not going to name any names, but if you have a big running back, a big strong running back that's a bruiser that can maybe lighten the load for Tony Pollard, because I don't know if this is working out for Tony Pollard like this.
And he's on the last year of his deal.
Right. So you got all kinds of issues at running back next year.
Yeah,
who's under contract, Deuce?
Exactly.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, exactly. No, So running back is certainly. I think that when you look at it offensively, they need a hammer in the running game. They need a mismatch tight end receiver in the red zone. Those are things that this team does not have a need.
Right. So let me ask you this, guys. As media guys, y'all had your week off, had an opportunity to look over your notes on what you thought about this team. And grade-wise, just overall thoughts on this team. Where are you at with them? As far, let's get 8 F. What do you grade this whole team at right now?
I mean, I'd give them like a B-, and I think you're looking at it in two ways. First of all, you're looking at relative to expectations, and then secondly, I'm looking at it offense versus defense as well. So offensively, I'm just a little lost. I don't really know what the identity is. I don't know what they're trying to do offensively. Defensively, they've had a couple of hiccups after starting out real fast and having these conversations about the 85 Bears and 2000 Ravens and all that stuff. Right. It hasn't looked like that consistently, and so but 4-2 is still 4-2, and I think you can't overlook that, and especially I think after what happened with the 49ers and the Eagles also losing. I mean, you're not just talking about you need to be at this level. It's relative to the rest of the league. And right now, they're right there with the 49ers. They're right there with the Eagles in the standings. And so I think that has to be considered.
B for me. I mean, and I agree with that. And I've never been one, when you're talking about grades, it gets real tricky because it reminds you back when you were in college or high school or whatever. Because a grade is a grade. It doesn't matter if the valedictorian has never had a B in her life. If she gets an 85, that's an 85. Now, she depressed? Yeah, or he, whatever. But I'm just saying, it's still a grade. So expectation to me doesn't go factor into a grade. So I go with the B, mainly because they lost to a really bad football team. So that shows me that you got blown out by a really good team. So you're kind of right there. You haven't beat anyone that's great, but you've had some solid wins. So
4-2 says if I'd have told you going into the season based on the early schedule they were 4-2, you'd be okay with that. Considering the Jets and 49ers.
What you thought
with the Jets, you would think, okay, that's not a bad start because they're But knowing what we know now, they should be 5-1. There's no excuse for what happened in Arizona. Whether they got blown out by the 49ers, but whether they lost a close game and blowout game, that was probably a game they probably were going to lose. So they should be 5-1 in my book going into this next stretch. B sounds right because of inconsistency, and I hear you about saying I don't grade on expectations, but I also don't grade on the curve either. I mean, it's how you look at it. This team should be better than that, and they should have played better than they played, but they're 4-2. So defensively, there's some questions out there. They're not as strong as we thought they were offensively. They certainly don't look like the team that we thought they were going to be. And so the good news is they have a chance to flip that. And Mike McCarthy talked about, September football, and he's right. You don't really know. And I've preached all the time. It's a week-to-week league. People make these referendums on who's good and who's bad, based on what we see in September. And now that we kind of got an understanding of who everybody is and what they can do, now is really the time where you kind of you see people can make differences going into October, and the Cowboys have a chance to really make a stand. They got 4 of the next 6 games at home. They should at least go 5-1 in this stretch. We can talk about whether they should beat Eagles or not, but they should go at least 5-1 in this stretch. 4 of the next 6 games at home. They won 10 straight games at home. They have a chance to win 11 straight games against the Rams. No Cowboys team has done that since 91-92. Of course, that's when they won the first of their 3 Super Bowls in the 90s. But this is a chance to really make some hay right now.
I also think that it doesn't always look the same. When we talk about that 49ers loss, I know a loss is a loss in the standings, but I go back to a couple years ago when the Cowboys opened against the Buccaneers and they barely lost. And I remember the vibe of the team around the team was, this was Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. It was opening night, and you're right there, and it was very upbeat, and it was very demoralizing. And Mike McCarthy talked about that last week, and that they looked back a little too much after that 49ers loss, and so I think that also contributes to it being a little bit lower.
Well, hold on now, because on and I've talked about this all the time. Nate Newton and I go back and forth about moral victories, and I use that Tampa Bay game, that first one, because you can't say that without saying that they won 5 straight after that game.
Right.
That's the thing. So they did. They used that to boost them. If you're saying on the flip side for the 49ers, that's why I think that win against the Chargers was huge.
Exactly.
Because it stopped all that. It stopped, is this loss going to linger? No, it didn't. It didn't. They went out on Monday Night Football, with, you can call that a home game if you want, but they went, into L.A. and beat the Chargers. That was a huge game. It's the first time, they were averaging, the average margin of victory was 27 points in the first 4 games. I mean, all these blowout games. So that was a 3-point game, and that's the way you're going to have to play in getting December and January. It's going to be those type of games. So I hear what you're saying about demoralizing, but that's why it was so important to beat the Chargers and kind of stop that from free flowing.
And 2 things for me. One being before the season, like you said, Clarence, you would have never thought of this roster in terms of B talent-wise, because everybody kind of assumed that this was an A talent that everyone put together. Now that it's played together, you kind of have your questions about this defense, the running game, the yards they give up, and also Tony Pollard. I think you have those questions where you're saying, man, how are they going to utilize Tony Pollard? Because he doesn't seem like the player that you had when he was paired with Zeke. But on the other side, just keeping it real with you on the San Francisco game, it seems like that was 2 losses. It was 1 loss. It felt like 2 because everybody came into that game saying, oh, this is a measuring stick game. And then when you go and you get blown out by San Francisco, and, oh, by the way, 2 weeks later, they've lost 2 games in a row.
They're not that good either.
So you got to be asking yourself questions now about a measuring stick game versus a team that now has lost 2 in a row.
Which is why Jerry on the radio, you go back to Jerry on the radio, that's why he brought up the San Francisco game. Well, they went out and lost to Minnesota, and their quarterback played well, and he pointed all those things out, and which is another reason why he said they weren't on the level of San Francisco. But, of course, San Francisco's a different team on the road. Those 2 losses on the road. The quarterback, which I've said from the beginning, make him play from behind, make him play in a type game. I mean, he looks great when things are going great, but no one put him in a situation where he had to play from behind or play in the close game and make plays that count. Ask him to make plays that count. He's not the same golden boy quarterback.
And also, when we talk about measuring stick games, I understand from the playoff history and everything that they had, but it was early October, and just because they lost big in that game doesn't have to linger on to anything in November and December. And I always go back to the Patriots got blown out against the Kansas City Chiefs on Monday Night Football in 2014. And this was before they had the whole second run dynasty, all that stuff. That's when Brady was done and Belichick was done. They won the Super Bowl that year, and they came back from all that. So my point is in late September, early October, those aren't necessary. Those are measuring stick games from a team-to-team standpoint. But that time of year, what McCarthy's talking about, September football, October 8th is still an extension of September football. And so you're looking to what happens after that.
Yeah, I mean, the Cardinals game, to me, the one saving grace there is that, you had 19 Pro Bowlers 19 combined Pro Bowls that missed that game from the week before. It's just you can call it an excuse, but 3 Pro Bowl players on your offensive line that was challenged, and Diggs as well. That's their only win of the season. That's not a good football team. The more concerning one was the 49ers, that you were healthy and it was a game. Let's see where you stand, and they were knocked out in the first round.
I'm just the opposite. I think that at the end of the season, you're going to really hate that 49ers loss. That Cardinals loss.
But I'm just saying. But don't you think? Can't we see the reason?
No, we can't see the reason.
You don't see 3?
No, not defensively. No,
all right.
Defensively, Diggs had nothing to do with the running game getting gashed. Diggs is not a great run support guy. The running game got gashed from jump.
If they play the Cardinals tomorrow in Arizona, who do you think wins the game? No, I'm asking you.
The Cowboys should win the game.
Do you think they win? Do you think they're favored?
I thought they won the last time.
Do you think that?
I would have said the same thing before last game.
It doesn't matter, though. I'm talking about right now since you saw the last game. Do you think they'll be favored to win?
Yes.
What about the 49ers? Do you think they'll be favored to beat them because of what you saw?
Because even before that, I didn't pay them to win the first game, though.
That's my point, though. What you saw against the 49ers makes you think, man, they're not on the same level right now. What you saw against the Cardinals sounds like a fluke.
I think that I guess I'm different because I think that the 49ers game, looking back, since we're all looking back now, was more about a bad day at the offense. Especially with the 49ers, where they lost the last 2 weeks. I think that was just a bad day. It was a bad day at the office, and it could have been demoralizing. It was demoralizing at the time because they talked so much.
Right.
They did talk too much. They put so much on the game, and they went out and laid an egg. But to me, the game that they're going to be potentially regretting at the end of the season, is the Cardinals game. I don't care that 3 offensive line was out and Diggs got hurt. That game should not have happened.
Well, it's the media mash. I feel smarter already. This guy just put us in the Super Bowl. I heard what he said. Yes, that's what he just did. Saad Youssef just put us in the Super Bowl. I heard
Is the quarterback Tom Brady?
No, but you gave the comparison. But that's all I need to go off of. My man, Nick Eatman, Clarence Hill Jr. in the building. We will be right back with more media mash.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure. It's not complicated.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Don't put off getting your oil changed, Dallas. Take 5 Oil Change, a proud partner of the Cowboys, is faster than you think. There's no appointment needed and no waiting room. Yep, you heard that correctly. Take 5 is so fast, you don't even have to get out of your car. You can take advantage of Take 5's fast, friendly, and simple service at any of their locations across the Dallas area. And remember, at Take 5, you stay in your car because they're faster than you think. Take 5, the official oil change of the Dallas Cowboys.
It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites and a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the Playmaker at getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP.
They say champions are remembered, but legends are never forgotten. United Ag and Turf offers a winning lineup of John Deere equipment built to tackle any challenge on and off the field. Legendary John Deere tractors, combines, residential mowers, commercial mowers, compact construction equipment, Gator utility vehicles, and a full line of golf and sports turf equipment. United Ag and Turf, the official Ag and Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com to find a location near you.
Back to Media Mash.
Back here on the Media Mash. I feel smarter already. I got this brain power around me. These guys who write these great articles, surrounded by guys like Saad Youssef, Clarence Hill, the legend, Clarence Hill Jr.
Legend.
The legend. This man's a legend. You don't think so?
Oh, I agree. Oh, God. Trust me.
This is a legend right here.
I'm just old.
Trust me.
He covered me when I was in high school.
This a whole goat right here, man. What you talking about?
Old.
I remember when Clarence headbutted Chris Beam in a media game, like spearing.
What?
In a flag football
Wait
media
a minute.
game.
Is there possible that Chris Beam didn't tell me a story?
He was concussed. He was concussed. He doesn't remember.
How about Mickey tripping? How about Mickey tripping Chris Beam? Okay, with the crutches. Okay, in San Antonio.
True. Those media games, we didn't do that anymore.
No.
Oh man.
My, how things have changed.
Yeah.
Nick, man, you know what? You had a social media post. It made me sad, dog.
Oh no.
When you posted a picture of you, was like before and after.
Oh yeah.
And you show, I was like,
yeah.
And then I think something on there at the end was like, hadn't seen the Super Bowl or something like that in a long time.
Yep. Oh yeah, of course somebody's got to do that. That's why Twitter sucks. I'm sorry, it sucks.
What happened?
No. Thanks for joining the show, Clarence. No, it was just something about. No, it was my 500th game. That's what it was.
Yes, that's exactly what it was.
500 games, and obviously I was a few cheeseburgers ago for me, so it looked different and all that. But then somebody's got to jump in there and say, oh, all those games and no Super Bowls, which is not true. I covered a Super Bowl.
Really, we're doing this?
I covered a Super Bowl, but I've never covered a championship game. I don't know what the NFC Championship game was like. But really? Yeah, but that's the thing. Like you can't watch a game and go, man, great job, Texas Rangers, because then it's somebody in Arlington's won. So that's why it kind of takes the fun out of it. Because I know who
It does take the fun out of it, but listen, and I'm a social media guy, and I like to get in those conversations, but. These are all extensions of other conversations. It's always about the Cowboys and what they've done, okay? So, yes, you guys covered 500 games, but you covered the Cowboys, so...
I get it.
You know what I'm saying? The Rangers done the Cowboys playing Arlington,
I know.
the team in Arlington.
But here's the thing. That's why, for the most part, I stay off of it. So maybe this is a segue to people that don't like the way the Cowboys are covered in social media. Maybe they can do things differently. I don't know if we're talking about anyone specifically.
Well, Mike. I was going to go into Micah Parsons and how he's dealing with social media right now on his podcast. And Micah is...
Micah.
Yeah. And for you guys, obviously you come from new school, old school generation. Things have changed a lot since you guys first started reporting on this team. How do you feel when you see a guy, a superstar like Micah Parsons, sitting and giving his deepest, most thoughts in front of a microphone, unedited, without a PR person standing behind him? Does any of that make you nervous? How do you feel about that?
It's not a nervous issue because that's the way of the world. They're on social media. That's their right. I was pissed off last week because he didn't talk to us for 2 weeks, okay? And he blamed the national media when that's why I didn't talk to the media last week, because how you going to punish us?
True.
Because you mad at them and then get on your podcast. So I didn't like that, because, do your job, do your duty. You're supposed to talk to the media every week. He hadn't talked to the media for 2 weeks. He talked today. But so that was my thing. But yeah, you got to, I follow players on social media. That's what you have to do. We write stories based on social media reactions. And certainly you can, when things happen, people die, people retire, whatever else, you can get quotes and reactions from players in real time on social media. So that's the new game. That's the new world. That's certainly what we're dealing with.
Yeah, I think when you look at what Micah does and how he uses his platform, it's the good comes with the bad and the bad comes with the good. It's however you want to look at it. You can complain about how the Cowboys are covered or how they're viewed or the criticism, but the praise goes the same way when it does. And so there's a reason why this brand is what it is, and it's because of the good and the bad. And so I think Micah's young. He's 24 or something like that. He's just kind of getting an understanding of what this is. We've talked to Dak Prescott about this many times, and he knows that this is kind of what comes with playing for the Dallas Cowboys. And I think you just have to understand those things that, you're going to get the good, you're going to get the bad. How do you filter those things and not let that become everything that you kind of think about?
Yeah, and the more that you react like that, then the more bad. Because I could argue with you that, you get the good and the bad. I don't think so. Like, I really don't think so. I don't think that the same guys that sit up there on those national shows and all that, I think that they want to be Cowboy haters because they understand.
They lean into that.
They lean into it. They understand that helps them.
Yeah.
That helps them because then it's like, oh, I hate this guy, Stephen A. Smith. What is he going to say about the Cowboys? Well, he just won. He won because that's exactly what they want you to do. And I don't think it's the same when they win because what happens is it's really easy. They go and beat the 49ers, not 42-10. That would have been different. But if you just beat the 49ers, the narrative would be good win. What happens in the playoffs?
Well, that's because it's gotten stale over 27 years. But if they won the Super Bowl, that would be a whole different level than any of the other 31 teams.
Yeah, but they haven't won a Super Bowl, so we're going to deal with what's going on now.
Right.
I mean, what's going on now, and that's what people think. Well, you're a Dak. I rail against the narratives. I think their narratives. I agree with Mike. I don't think that they do it fairly. And I got into it with some ESPN people last week. Like, well, it's the star. No, the star has nothing. The star is about the fans. It had nothing to do with how a media person analyzes someone's play. And why they talk about this guy or that guy or this team. It should not be because of the star. If you're being fair about your analysis.
Yeah. But let me ask you this. Do you think Bill Belichick is going to get the Patriots where they need to go right now this year? Do you think that as a coach he can get his team up there because he's the greatest of all time?
No.
But he's the greatest of all time. But that's the thing. No one says, well, the Patriots and Bill Belichick, no one goes through the past 15 to 20 years with his career and apply it to right now. Why are we applying 20 years for the Cowboys and applying it right now?
I was told because of Jerry Jones, because Jerry Jones said so.
Okay.
I mean, seriously.
But
yeah, so
moving on.
So again, like I said, I've been on this battle railing against narratives. I'm not necessarily defending Dak.
Yeah.
I'm railing against narratives. And because I got into it with Dan Orlovsky, all those guys, like I said, did y'all talk about the person that led the NFL in interceptions in 2021?
No.
Or 20? Did y'all do any breakdown? I don't know. I'm just saying.
Oh, okay.
No, they didn't. And they did not do off-season breakdown. Did not talk about the interceptions incessantly in those years about the person who led the league in interceptions. They only did it this past year when it was Dak. Just like now, who's the interception leader?
Jalen Hurts.
Exactly. Jalen Hurts and your boy and Josh Allen. And they all got 8 interceptions and everything else, but no one's using that as an indictment of their abilities and whether they can get somebody to the Super Bowl or anything like that. It's just keep it real.
But as long as you guys have been writing on the Dallas Cowboys, that's been the narrative, regardless of how it changes or who it changes
with. It's so crazy to me because somebody said it's the media. The media is the one who says the Cowboys should win every year, so that's why they get the grief. I said no one has covered the Cowboys longer than me, and I've never picked them to win the Super Bowl. Okay. So tell me how I, as a media member who's covered the team up close and personal more than any of you guys.
You are a legend.
Just tell me how the media, is the reason that we put the Cowboys in. I've never done that. I've never picked the Cowboys to win one Super Bowl.
It's because everyone loops media in one. I mean, it's the local.
But no, media has picked the Cowboys to win Super Bowls.
I'm sure there's people sitting up there in national media.
But it's not. You go back to 2006, 2007. No, 2000. After during the season when 2007 when they were 13-3 and had the best record, there are people that thought the Cowboys should win. Going to 2008, you think, maybe they have a chance to do it finally.
3-0 to start.
But it wasn't like every year the media is putting the Cowboys on the press. It's the Cowboys' year. That's not facts.
Yeah.
But here you are, it ticks you off when Micah says, I'm not going to talk to the media because of something that the national media says.
They're not real media. They're that's entertainment. That's what I try to tell them because I've talked to them like, Micah, Shady McCoy, Joy, that's not media. That's entertainment. Okay? They're not, those first take shows, that's not media. I'm media. I know media. That's entertainment. They're not interested in journalism. They're not interested in being fair. They're interested in presenting both sides.
Yeah.
They're interested in hot takes.
But then you're segmenting something that these guys, when they look at it, that enjoy Taylor or Shady McCoy says Dak is ass and it travels to everybody.
Right, because no one watches the show, so they say it, they put it on social media, and it goes viral. That's what they're looking for.
True, exactly.
Because no one watches the show. But that's hot takes. That's not media.
But doesn't it
That's
work?
not journalism.
But doesn't it work when Micah says, I'm not talking to you because of something that the national media said?
Then Nacho goes out there and gets the defender. I mean, that's perfect. That leads
Right, they go back and forth,
Yeah.
and so he helps create their content.
Yeah.
You know, you're feeding into their content when you respond.
Yeah, that's what he's got.
And so, like last week, it just frustrated me because Micah responds, and so ESPN did this whole segment, the first take, sees all of them, whole segment about Micah.
Exactly.
Okay,
exactly.
And then Acho and everybody else is doing this whole segment about Micah. The Cowboys ain't even playing this week. It's a freaking bye week, and the whole ESPN is coming for Micah and the Cowboys.
And that's Jerry off to the side going,
"Oh, Jerry loves it."
That's what he wants.
He loves it, but as a media person, that's not journalism.
Well, you know what?
That's entertainment because I'm giving you what you want to hear, but that ain't journalism.
But when we started, you know, when I started covering the team, I mean, you never showed that you were a fan. The worst thing you could do was be a homer.
100%.
Right. But where did it go the other way where it's okay to be
a hater?
A hater. Like, that's okay. That's what I don't understand. Like, you know, and it's not just Stephen A. It's
all of
Bart Scott, Ryan Clark. I mean, what the coach, the big coach, the
Rex Ryan.
Yeah, geez, yeah. Yes. I mean, it's because it's like, you know, if I'm related to Buddy Ryan, I gotta hate. You just gotta hate the Cowboys, and you know, it's like that's what it is. And for every Michael Irvin that goes the other way, there's about 10.
Well, see, and I'm glad you brought Michael up because I've said this. You can say what you want about Michael. Michael is unabashedly a Cowboy fan, okay? He roots for the Cowboys. You've never heard Michael Irvin hate on another team or another player because of the rivalry. You've never heard him not be fair about Jalen Hurts, about the Eagles because of the rivalry. He just is an unabashedly Cowboy fan, but he never denigrates and downgrades another team. These guys are purposely downgrading the Cowboys and Dak and their accomplishments and what they've done and how they are because of the rivalry. To me, that's the difference. You're not being Mike Irvin. You're being the other way.
That's a great point. That's a great point because if anybody has a reason to be against the Eagles, it would be Michael.
Right, because
he could do it and get away with it.
The fan base, like Stephen A. says, I hate the Cowboys because of the fan base. Well, Mike Irvin could say, well, I hate the Eagles because of the fan base. They booed me when I was paralyzed.
Yes.
No, but he doesn't do that.
That's true.
But as a combination of what both of them are saying, it's also I don't really view that as journalism. Like, I just don't view any of that with any journalist. I mean, the stuff that we do in terms of independent writers and stuff, there's a level of journalistic ethics that I make sure to follow all the time, whether I'm talking to players, writing, whatever I'm doing. They don't have to do all that.
Yeah,
they don't do.
Mike is going to understand. I mean, there's a reason why the phrase is what it is, power of the press. Mike is going to understand that you're not going to win the battle. You're not going to win it, and it's only going to look worse if you keep trying to fight it.
You're right. But the difference between Micah and in the past, when you tried to fight the battle, you had to fight the battle through the media. Michael is fighting the battle with his own media.
Exactly.
You know, so his own brand, and some people lean into that, but ultimately he doesn't talk enough because he only does it one day a week, and these guys are every day of the week. You know, so you're not going to win, but there's a difference because he has his own brand to get his thoughts out fully and not be caught up in sound bites or whatever else.
So, Clarence, there used to be a day when they wanted to get some bulletin board material. Charles Haley would have to come to you personally. And give you a take, and that would then turn into bulletin board material.
Or Jimmy Jones would have to call a radio station.
Exactly.
You know, put it in 6 years headline.
Now Charles Haley has his own podcast.
Yeah.
And the world is a better place. We're going to take a break. We'll be back with more.
Scares me. Charles got his own podcast?
No, he doesn't. No, I'm talking about Micah and the comparison between the two. But either way, we'll be back with more Media Mash after this.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure. It's not complicated.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Cowboys fans, after that move, we've just coined the term Rowdy Replay. Let's roll back the tape.
Okay, there's our mascot Rowdy cheering on the boys, and now he's on his phone, on his Bank of America mobile banking app?
Staying on top of his finances with his virtual financial assistant, Erica.
Bank of America's digital tools are so impressive. Cowboys fans just can't stop banking. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/can't-stop-banking.
Erica is only available in the English language. You must download the latest version of the mobile banking app, only available on select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. Member FDIC.
Welcome back into Dear Doctor, the show where I answer life's questions with an ice-cold can of Dr. Pepper. Sheila, let's hear from our next caller, would you?
Dear Doctor, my friend supported me during a tough time, but what's the right gift that says, thanks for being a shoulder to cry on?
Okay, this one's easy. I say give her a delicious Dr. Pepper. Nothing says, thanks, girl, better than a one-of-a-kind soda. Yes, any Dr. Pepper flavor will do. Now, just a reminder that I don't need to be a real doctor to know that Dr. Pepper is the one you deserve.
They say champions are remembered, but legends are never forgotten. United Ag and Turf offers a winning lineup of John Deere equipment built to tackle any challenge on and off the field. Legendary John Deere tractors, combines, residential mowers, commercial mowers, compact construction equipment, Gator utility vehicles, and a full line of golf and sports turf equipment. United Ag and Turf, the official Ag and Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com to find a location near you.
Back to Media Mash.
Final segment of Media Mash. Have been having a bunch of fun. A lot of guys imparting knowledge and wisdom. I'm a changed man. Come back to my next podcast. I'll be a lot smarter.
You got your own podcast too?
Yeah, Players Lounge.
Your own podcast.
No.
Oh, okay.
The one he's on, man.
Yeah,
the one he's on.
But it's all good. It's all good.
Put words in his mouth.
You know what I'm doing. All right, but
there's only one guy in this room that has his own podcast.
Right. That's what he was checking. I get it. I didn't. Thank you. Chris.
No, I was honestly talking about the Charles Haley thing. Like when we went to break, but Haley has his own podcast, and I started sweating a little bit. And then I was just like, okay. And then you said my own podcast. You know, and then we're talking about Mike. I feel like everybody's got their own podcast.
No, man, mine's the Players Lounge on DallasCowboys.com. I'm filling in for Newy Scruggs on Media Mash, man. Listen, guys, this has been so much fun. But before we leave, I got to talk about the team we're playing on Sunday at 12 p.m. I'd be remiss to not bring up the Rams. They're a pretty big deal.
The Rams, dude.
The Rams. And initial thoughts on the Rams. What do you think about the matchup?
We follow the Rams?
Yeah.
What's about the matchup?
The matchup that Aaron Donald is the best player in that defense. Nobody else in the defense line is really that good. Control Eric Donald offensively. Them two receivers. What is it? Puka. Yeah. Puka's playing ball. You know, and you know, certainly I don't think the running game is what it used to be. You know, one thing the Rams used to befuddle the Cowboys with all that motion, everything they did, and they would gas them in the run game.
He changed that a lot.
Yeah, well, they don't have the same runners.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, they used to gas the Cowboys in the run game, you know, with all the things that they used to do. But it's the pass game with Stafford and those two receivers that you got to worry about. But get to the quarterback. This should, again, I talked about it earlier. This is a game you have to put in the bank. It's at home. The Cowboys won 10 straight. You have a chance to win 11 straight. You play decidedly much better at home over the last 2 years than you done on the road. You look at the numbers this year at home compared to the road. I don't care what the Rams got. Put this in the bank.
For me, it's really interesting coming off the Chargers game, and why that was so important is because I think you finally played an established top tier quarterback, and we've talked about Brock Purdy, you know, in the right situation I think is good, but Justin Herbert is well renowned as one of the top guys, and now you're going against another one of those guys, and I think the fact that you have that in your bank, and I know Herbert missed some throws, but I think the Cowboys pass rush being around him and in his head contribute to some of that. So for me, it's stop Matthew Stafford and you stop the Rams.
Yeah, you got to win the game, like Clarence said. You got to win. No excuses. There's one guy on the injury report, and he actually practiced in full, and Wanye Thomas. So you're coming off of a bye. You should have some. You should be well rested. You should have some plays. Hopefully this we'll see if they got some different plays, different things that they're gonna look at and self scout and see what they bring out, and they're better. They look like a better football team than the Rams, and so you got to go show it.
Yeah, again, go back to what we were talking about earlier. This is the third straight game with your offensive line. Those Pro Bowlers, those all the pros, those Hall of Famers, they get lathered up. They should gel. It's time for them to gel. It's time to get the running game going. You should be able to start looking like your best right now.
But if they're not there, though, that doesn't matter, though, against Arizona.
Arizona's 1-6.
I get it.
They're Arizona.
Well, they found a way to neutralize it.
Okay, let's before we go.
Uh-oh. I started.
Before we go. My problem with the Arizona game is this defense.
Yep.
Forget the offensive line. The defense talked about being the greatest defense on earth. Generational championship defense. You can't give up 300 yards rushing. You can talk about the offensive line all you want to. They still moved the ball. They had opportunities. You can't give up 300 yards. Every time the offense tried to get back in the game, the defense got gashed. Had nothing to do with Diggs.
I get that.
Diggs don't play the run like that. I mean, they're probably better against the run without Diggs.
Right.
You know, the defense, you cannot get gashed like that. The defense reached on whatever it was, that should not have happened.
I agree. But I give if they get to play again tomorrow. I mean, the defense is what it is. I mean, there's Diggs not coming back. So
I think the defense will be better. I mean,
right.
I think that
they'd be better if your offense can actually get first downs and get off the field. I mean, stay on the field.
If you the Bears and the Ravens don't give up a point against an offense that's one-dimensional, they got a quarterback don't want to do nothing but run the ball. They should not give up 10 points against that team.
What are we talking about? Cardinals?
Yes.
Oh, yes. You lost me on the Ravens and the Bears.
Well, that's who they want to be. That's who they've talked about being.
Oh, 85. I'm sorry. 85 Bears.
85
yeah,
Bears.
that's who they talk about being.
They're
well,
not
I'm just saying, but that's what they. If you that championship defense, if you all the things that we've talked about, blowing smoke, and we're that team, we're this great defense because what they did against the Jets, what they did against the Giants. Don't give up 10 points.
Okay, but they're not 85.
We beat this team last year 22-10, I believe, week 5.
Who, Rams? Yeah.
With Cooper Rush.
Okay.
So this is one of those games, like you said, Clarence, if you want everybody to take you serious, you've been in the same conversation with the 91-92 Dallas Cowboys. I think we know how that finished, and that would be 11 straight at home. Guys, I appreciate that. I appreciate y'all, man. Saad, Clarence, Nick, it's the Media Mash. We'll see y'all.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!